let's discuss Excel customization of the templates from the point of view of adding formulas. So what I'll show you is the power of Excel formulas and adding those into the templates, which allows you to create custom calculations. In this case here, we'll end up string manipulating the acquisition date time to create a new column. And I'll show you that in a moment. First, let me just mention that Excel has a tremendous amount of information about formulas. In fact, there are books written on Excel formulas. Formulas give you a wide variety of menu-driven capabilities to derive the values that exist in the data set and create your new derived values. And I will leave that as an exercise for the reader. Let's get started with editing the template. I will pick the accuracy template here, and as always, I'll make a copy of it, and then I will edit that template in Excel by opening it. And what I'd first like to show you is that there already exist formulas in this template. For example, here, there's a formula in the min and max, and let me show you how that works. First, I'd like to show you a trick. If you notice, over here in the rows, it goes from 11 to 13. And that's because Excel compresses the row in lists, and we use the XML list extensively here, when there's a formula involved. So what I'm going to do is expand that row underneath so I can see the formulas. I would encourage you to do that. It makes things a lot easier. Now I see the formula 100 minus L12 referring to the cell over here, L12, and similarly plus. So I'm going 100 plus and 100 minus, and the column that I'm using over here doesn't have a title, so you say, well, what's in that column? Let me show you by going over and pulling the XML source. And I'll show you by clicking on that row, on that column, and I'll see that that is mapped to accuracy maximum % deviation. Now, if this value were 20, then the min would be 80 and the max would be 120. So that's the calculation that's being shown in this report. Now, one thing I'll point out is that the formatting for this title has been given a format of color of white, so you don't see it, and similarly the contents here formatted so you don't see it because they're white. So that gives us a little bit of space in the report. That was consciously done. So that gives you an idea of formulas that already exist in the template, and next I'll show you how you can add a formula to the template yourself. Let's look at editing the formula right in the template here. I'm going to go to the top row, which has some sample information in it, and I'll go to the end of the row. And what I want to do is add in the acquisition date time, which is right over here in my source pane. So I'll drag that over to the end of the column. Now you'll notice that the mapping exists. And what I'd like to do next is to drag this over to a different part in the row. And you'll notice that there's an issue, because when I drag this over and squish this between these two rows right over here, you'll notice that it complains, saying that there is a filter that already exists. So let me remove that filter. I'll show you what that is. In the outlier reports, there is a custom filter here which shows you only those rows where the outlier is marked high or low. Now, that's the way Excel wants it to work. So what I'm going to do is to remove that filter and put it to all, and you'll notice that row 5 now expands, as we had discussed earlier. And now I can take this and drag it over to a different part of the row. So I'm going to take that and put that right, let's say right here. So now that I've got my acquisition date time column mapped, the next step that I want to accomplish is to add a formula. So I will go over here and I will add a formula column. What that has done is added a column right next to my acquisition date time, and the next it's asking for a formula. Now I know that the string that's mapped in here needs some string processing, so I created a simple string manipulation formula, but it could be any formula from Excel, and I'm going to enter that in right here. Now notice that refers to the cell next to it, which should be D5. So I'll replace that with D5 here. Add that formula in. And now I've got what I'm looking for. I've got a formula associated and derived information from the mapped column. The next step I'd like to accomplish is I don't really want to see the original mapped column, so I'll go to the advanced properties and I will hide that column. So the last step before I finish is I need to restore the custom filter, but I'll leave that as an exercise for the reader, and what I'll do is I'll just save this template and I'll process a small batch to see what it looks like. So at this point, as you well know, I'm importing the results, importing the graphics, and then processing any filtering or formulas as you just seen. So here's the formula column that I just added in, and you'll notice that the min and max formulas that were already there still exist. So that is a demonstration of how to add formulas to a template and then customize your reports. Thank you for your attention.